So let's talk about credit scores, credit card balances, and how they relate to each other. This is something that comes up quite a bit. And if you have software like Credit Karma, you might notice that your credit card balance reports on Credit Karma, but it's not always what you owe. And sometimes that can be confusing. Like if you pay your credit card off at the end of every month, why is it that Credit Karma or Experian show that you have a credit card balance that's higher than it actually is? The same thing happens in the mortgage world. Whenever I pull someone's credit, I'll usually say something like, hey, if you could pay your credit card off, your credit scores might increase. And that person might say, well, I pay it off every month, so there shouldn't be a balance at all. Now, what happens that you need to understand is that your credit card, you can pay it off at the beginning of every month, but what reports to the credit bureaus is based on the amount that you owe at the end of the billing cycle. So let's say you pay your credit card off on the 1st, and the billing cycle ends on the 16th of every month. Well, you can have a zero balance on the 1st, but if by the time the 16th rolls around, you owe $700 or $800, and let's say you have a $1,000 limit, then the credit bureaus see from the credit card companies that you owe 700 of 1,000, so you have 70% utilization. Now that can hurt your credit scores, but even if you pay that balance off at the end of every month, that does not necessarily reflect on the credit scores the way that you think it might. The credit scores really are just a snapshot of whatever is reported to them on the end of whatever that billing cycle is. So the best way to show the lowest balance to the credit bureaus and increase your credit scores is to pay the balance off right before the billing cycle. Now, how do you know when the billing cycle is? Well, typically it's when you get the email. Usually the credit card company will say, hey, your statement is available, your January statement is available online. Well, typically that's also when they report to the credit bureaus, not always, but most of the time. So if you pay the credit card off right at the same time as it reports, then it's gonna show a lower balance. That could lower your credit utilization and help you to increase your credit scores.